Well, the state is calling for all schools to reopen as more groups become eligible for vaccinations. And joining us now to discuss current state of student housing and university education is President and CEO of Pierce Education Properties, Fred Pierce. Good morning, Fred. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me again.
So this is obviously something we saw as this pandemic went on that changed people, especially in close living quarters, which we know dormitory student housing typically are. What do we anticipate moving forward for a new year with vaccines coming online?
Yeah, the outlook for higher education and housing at universities is the best it's been in a year since the pandemic. So almost globally, across the United States, universities are going to be back substantially in person, and they're increasing the occupancy in their housing on campus. We've stayed highly occupied off campus, but on campus they were de-densified. That's turning around this fall.
What did we see as far as enrollment for universities, especially enrollment for on-campus living?
Yeah, so it's interesting. It was very different based upon the type of university. So America's Tier 1, the Power 5 football conference, universities had level enrollment this year, although their freshman class was down by almost 10%. But conversely, graduate enrollments were up. We're seeing applications way up for this fall, and those freshmen who didn't come last year are coming this year, as well as this year's freshman class. So we're going to see a big enrollment growth, and that's going to be positive for higher education.
And was there a big difference with off-campus housing?
Well, there was, because off-campus housing was already de-densified. Basically the students live in their own bedroom, in their own bathroom. The most predominant floor plan type are 4-bedroom, 4-bath units. We had the ability to schedule the use of amenities when those were able to be open. They did close down at some point. So it's always been much safer from a living arrangement capacity off campus than it is on campus. So the occupancy patterns were different.
And do you think there are permanent changes that we'll see post-pandemic? Are they looking to maybe keep fewer students in one area? What are some of the long-term impacts we'll see from this on campus?
Yeah, good question. And I'd say they're a little different on campus versus off, as well as for the type of students. So in the long run, I think you are going to see on-campus housing being more mindful of being de-densified, less likely to have triple occupancy rooms when the demand, expands, and not more than double occupancy rooms. That's what they're doing at UCSD, is not more than double occupancy rooms. Where off-campus, it's largely single occupancy. New buildings are going to have high-tech HVAC systems if it's all centralized, so that's safer from an air distribution. They're packaged units off campus, so that didn't really apply there. And then finally, the thought about online learning. Some are saying, is that a disruptor? Is that going to change education? And what I'd say is, for the undergraduate, the 18 to 22-year-old, the answer is no. They want to be in person. They want to have a residential experience. They want to be in the classroom. But for the graduate student, maybe who's working full-time, but getting a graduate degree part-time at nights, might be just as easy and more convenient for them to take courses, online or in a hybrid format. So I think you can see some change in course delivery for graduate students and lifelong learners, not for the traditionally matriculating student. They're going to be off to college just like they were in the past.
What about vaccine requirements? We see that now. I know in order to live in a dorm at my university, I had to have certain vaccinations, meningitis, that sort of thing. Are they going to be requiring, do you think that's going to be pretty standard, that they require a COVID vaccine for on-campus student housing?
Yeah, so here's the issue is I believe, under the law, they have to stop short of absolutely requiring something. Some people may have religious reasons or other personal situations, but they are strongly encouraging and they are expecting the supermajority to be vaccinated. And most universities now have not only testing and contact tracing, but they actually have vaccinations happening on campuses as well. So they're going to ask you to prove that you've been vaccinated. If not, as soon as you arrive at universities, you're going to get tested. And then they're going to encourage you to get vaccinated. And if you're not, for whatever reason, you're going to have to test regularly according to what their protocol is. So the universities are being very safe.
All right. Well, this is certainly something that I'm sure is reassuring to parents. And I know that they can just inquire about questions before the student goes off to college and into housing, right? It's good to ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's information all over, individual universities' websites. And let me just leave it with this. The kids want to go to school, and their parents want them at school. So this is a good thing, especially now that we can do it safely.
Absolutely. Fred Pierce, president of Pierce Education Properties. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time this morning, as always.
Great. Thank you as well.